Hello everyone, back into today's second video. So we're going to be doing JMA Friday for today's second video. As always on a Friday, we're having a look at the weather for the month ahead with the Japanese and CFS V2 models. It's going to be taking us just at the beginning of October. Can you believe? So, yes, I'll get on with it for you very shortly. Just say that the first video released today was European Outlook. I've got a 10 to 14 day video update, including all the regular features coming up for you later on this afternoon. Right then, so let's get on with it. We're going to start off by having a look at the JMA 500 millibar height anomaly from the Northern Hemisphere and North Pole view down. So, of course, this is the North Pole of the Northern Hemisphere just here. Mid-latitudes of the Northern Hemisphere are around there. So yellow, orange and red extrapolate to above average heights, which is high pressure, blue to below average heights, which is low pressure. These will break down to week periods. The first week period will take us from the 4th through to the 11th of September. The coming week we'll have a ridge of high pressure then building in from the Atlantic, or ridging in from the Atlantic into much of Western Europe. Low pressure is up to the north, with a jet stream up to the north as well. That's moving into northern parts of Europe, keeping things more unsettled, for example, across Scandinavia. But for much of Western Europe and down to Southwest Europe too, we're close to a ridge of high pressure. So there should be a reasonable amount of dry weather at times through the week ahead. Week 2 takes us from the 11th to the 18th of September. We have lower than average heights out to west. Got low pressure out to the west, above average heights to the east and to the northeast. We're bringing in the flow from off the Atlantic, doing something a little bit like that with flow and with the jet stream. We look quite unsettled with that low pressure out to the west. It probably will be quite warm though, as winds are kind of southerly, southwesterly coming in from that sort of direction. Probably quite warm with the low pressure out to the west. But unsettled. I think that low pressure will bring spells of rain. So that looks like it's a more unsettled period around the middle part of September. And then we go through to weeks 3 and 4, taking us from the 18th of September to the 2nd of October. With above average heights building then over and to the east of the country. So it looks like the low pressure looks like it's weakening, probably still there, but weakening in the Atlantic. So I would have thought this is like transition probably towards higher pressure and maybe towards warmer weather as well, as winds will be going more southerly to southeasterly, and that could bring some quite warm weather for the second half of September. Remember, it's a 2-week anomaly though, so it might be transition. It might still be unsettled in week 3, and then into high pressure in week 4, something like that could be going on. But overall, that does look a little bit drier and a little bit warmer as we go through to weeks 3 and 4. This is how the tropical mid-latitude view looks. So we can't see the Arctic and the North Pole, Scandinavia. That's all off the chart up here. But we can see the UK and Ireland in the top right-hand corner of the chart as you are looking at it. So a reminder of the week 1 500 millibar height anomaly, the ridge building in from off the Atlantic. High pressure builds in from the Atlantic into the UK and into Western Europe as well. Low pressure is up here along with the jet stream as well. Temperature anomaly is actually a little bit on the cooler than average side, maybe a bit surprisingly given the high pressure is dominating through this week. But of course, it's starting off quite cool, and any any increase in temperature is probably going to be a few days away. So yeah, a little bit cooler than average. Rather on the drier than average side as well, as you'd expect, with high pressure dominating, where the high pressure will live a roost. So temperature anomalies are, precipitation anomalies, I should say, rainfall anomalies are a little bit drier than average. Week 2 looks more unsettled with the low pressure out to the west of the country, probably pulling up some warmer air from the south though. Still a bit on the cool side, you would say, actually, with the temperature anomaly. Certainly just to our west-southwest, it's a bit on the cool side, and only sort of average, really, across most parts of the UK. It is a more unsettled week as well, with rainfall anomalies going above average, going wetter than average for Ireland, for the UK too. And then very little change as we get through into weeks 3 and 4, except high pressure begins to rise out to our east. So heights rising to our east. I think low pressure, it doesn't really show, but I think low pressure would still be here, but as a weakening feature with the flow and projecting something a little bit like that. Temperature anomalies are still struggling. Really, I thought this would be warmer with more of a southerly southeasterly flow, but temperature anomaly still appears to be struggling quite a bit, especially so just to the west of the country. And while it's not as unsettled as it is in week 2, it is still actually a little bit on the wet and average side, certainly for northern and eastern parts of the UK for week 3 and 4. There's probably a transition going on there. So in week 3, it probably still is quite unsettled, but week 4 probably goes towards high pressure, something a little bit like that from the 18th to the 2nd of October. So we'll look at CFS-V2, see how that compares. So again, these are 500 millibar heights bring down to week periods. The first week period takes us from the 4th through to 10th of September. The coming week has lower pressure to our north and northeast. High pressure is in middle of the North Atlantic. The flow and the jet is doing something a little bit like that, sort of west to northwesterly. So yes, high pressure is blocking off the Atlantic. It's going to be overly unsettled. It won't be completely dry, particularly for the north. There will be some rain at times, always a bit dry down in the south-southwest. Now, let's go through to week 2, which is the 11th, 17th September. This looks distinctly unsettled, with low pressure really developing over to the north country, high pressure pulling out into the middle of the North Atlantic. The flow and the jet is going something a little bit like that. So that's going much more unsettled, much cooler, much more unsettled as we get through into week 2. Week 3 is going to be the 18th to 24th of September. High pressure and pulls out to the northwest. You've got higher pressure pulling away to the northwest. Lower pressure is just to our south, becoming cut off. So rather strange looking pattern, but probably still a little bit on the unsettled side actually, with the trough low pressure sinking southwards as heights rise and falls the flow and the jet stream southwards a little bit like that. And then we get through into week 4, and this is where we're deviating from a JMA, by the way, because this is the 25th of September to the 1st of October, and instead of high pressure developing to our east, we've got a trough of low pressure setting up over the top of the country, with heights again pulling out towards Greenland and Canada, and the flow and the jet going something like that, rather cool side of the jet stream, looking very unsettled and cool there as we come into the end of September, starting October. Week 1 temperature anomaly, which takes us from the 4th to the 10th of September, is cooler than average. Got a cooler than average week coming up. Week 2 temperature anomaly is also cooler than average from the 11th to 17th of September. Also has below average temperatures. Week 3 temperature anomaly, 18th to 24th September, is below average too. And week 4 rounds it all off. It's 25th of September to 1st of October. Whilst not as below average, it is still generally on the cooler than average side, ever so slightly. So this was like a very cool month coming up actually, with below average temperatures. Like if CFS is right for this September, will be only the 2nd cooler than average month of the year if it verifies. Rainfall anomaly is finally week 1 rainfall anomaly from the 4th to 10th of September is drier than average. You've got a drier than average week coming up. Week 2, the 11th, 17th of September, is wetter than average, going more unsettled in week 2. Week 3 is the 18th to the 24th of September, also looks a little bit wetter than average, more especially so for more southern parts of the country. And week 4, which is the 25th of September to the 1st of October, is also wetter than average. So, yeah, that's it. It looks like we're in for a bit of a changeable old September, doesn't it? So we have got deviations here between the two models, though. So for week 1, we've got agreement. We're going to be a little bit changed in the north, but high pressure sort of to our west and southwest probably keeps things reasonably dry in the next few days. But then it looks like we get a deterioration tomorrow and settled conditions as we move up towards the middle part of September. So I expect things to go wetter if these two models are right to middle of September. Second half of the month, we have quite a big split setting up then. So the JMA wants to build higher pressure to our east, probably turn us a little bit dry, especially later in the month. And I would have thought a little bit warmer too. Whereas the CFS, to me, is looking very cool and unsettled right the way through September, possibly even to the start of October. So a deviation there between the two models, a split definitely between the two models for the second half of September. But I think reading between the lines, it's generally going to be quite an unsettled September. And if the CFS is right, this could turn out to be our 2nd cooler than average month of the year, because it's very early days on that. Okay, just a snapshot of what these models are showing. They could all look very, very different next week. So, yes, it's only a snapshot. And things could look different next week. Any forecast beyond 5-7 days is fraught with danger, especially at this time of year where we've got so much going on in the tropical Atlantic and so on. We're going to be back later on with your 10 to 14 day video update, including all of regular features, so come back for that then. For JMA Friday, though, that's all for now, and thanks for watching.